If you've been shopping at Aldi thinking you're outsmarting the grocery system, think again. What if I told you that the very things you love about Aldi, those low prices, lightning fast checkouts, and quirky off-brand products, are all part of a carefully engineered illusion? An illusion that might be saving you a few dollars while costing you something far more valuable. Behind the bright produce and smiley staff, there are stories Aldi doesn't want you to hear, like the repackaged meat controversy, or the chocolate bars that tested positive for heavy metals, or the psychological tricks hidden in that simple little quarter you pop into a cart. And it doesn't stop there. Former employees have come forward claiming burnout, impossible workloads, and disturbing internal practices. So if you think you know the truth about Aldi, stay tuned, because what you're about to learn might just change the way you shop forever. Walk into any Aldi, and you'll immediately notice something strange. Where are the familiar brand names? There's no Kellogg's, no Doritos, no Campbell's. Instead, you're faced with names like Millville, Clancy's, and Simply Nature. They look like real brands. They sound like real brands. Some even copy the color scheme and packaging style of the national brands you know and trust. But here's the truth. Those aren't independent brands at all. They're owned and manufactured specifically for Aldi. In fact, over 90% of Aldi's inventory is made up of these private label products. And that's not a coincidence. It's a strategy designed to trap you inside a closed-loop ecosystem where Aldi controls everything: the product, the price, the packaging, and the perception. Here's where it gets unsettling. Some of these Aldi brands mimic well-known products so closely that many customers have no idea they're buying something completely different. It's not just branding, it's brand deception. Imagine thinking you're grabbing something like a bag of Lay's chips, only to later realize you've bought Clancy's. Same shape, same size, nearly identical flavor, but not the same standards. Some of these products are manufactured by third-party suppliers using lower-cost ingredients, and there's very little transparency about where they're made or what exactly is inside. It's not about giving you choices, it's about giving you the illusion of choice while maximizing Aldi's control and profits. But the real kicker? Studies have shown that many shoppers are actually more loyal to Aldi's in-house brands than they are to national labels, simply because they're so well disguised. It's a clever manipulation. You think you're making informed decisions, but the options were chosen for you before you even walked in the door. And if they can control the brands, they can control your wallet. But what about that little 25-cent cart trick? That harmless little quarter might be doing more than keeping the parking lot tidy. In the next section, we'll show how Aldi turns psychology into profit, one coin at a time. Everyone loves to talk about Aldi's famous quarter cart system. At first glance, it seems like a harmless, even charming little quirk. You pop in a quarter to unlock a cart and get it back when you return it. Simple, right? But this isn't just about saving stray carts from roaming the parking lot. This is psychological manipulation at its finest. A 25-cent mind trick designed to change your behavior and save Aldi millions of dollars every single year. Let's break it down. Most grocery stores pay staff to collect carts throughout the day. It's a job that takes time, manpower, and money. But at Aldi, you're the cart retriever. By requiring a deposit, Aldi cleverly outsources this labor to you, the customer. And because you want your quarterback, you become the employee. You neatly return the cart, reset it in the line, and leave the lot cleaner than you found it, all without a paycheck. That one little coin saves Aldi from hiring extra staff and cuts down on theft and damage. Multiply that by over 2,000 stores in the US alone, and it's not just pennies, it's millions in hidden savings. But there's something deeper happening here. That quarter isn't just saving labor, it's conditioning behavior. Psychologists call it the effort justification effect. When people put in even a small amount of effort or investment, like inserting a coin, they're more likely to feel loyal, cooperative, and compliant. You're subconsciously more patient with the fast checkouts, more forgiving of the no-frills setup, and more likely to return. That tiny deposit gets inside your head, shaping how you interact with the store from the very beginning. It's behavioral economics disguised as thrift. And if that subtle manipulation seems clever, just wait until you hear what's happening behind the checkout lanes. Because while you're saving a quarter, Aldi employees are burning out behind the scenes. In the next section, we'll pull back the curtain on what it really takes to keep Aldi running like a machine and why some workers are reaching their breaking point. From the outside, Aldi runs like a well-oiled machine. Shelves are stocked, lines move fast, and everything feels impressively efficient. But behind that smooth operation is a workforce stretched to its absolute limit. Unlike other grocery chains where each employee has a defined role, Aldi expects workers to do everything. stock the shelves, run the register, clean the floors, unload trucks, and more, all in one shift, often with just 2 or 3 people covering the entire store. It sounds impossible because it is, and it's leaving a trail of exhausted, burnt-out employees in its wake. Former Aldi workers have spoken out online and in interviews, painting a very different picture than the cheerful image the brand portrays. Some describe being timed down to the second while scanning items, with unrealistic speed targets that punish anyone who slows down. Others report being assigned physically demanding tasks with no breaks, lifting heavy boxes without proper equipment, or being expected to work well past their shifts with no additional help. One ex-employee even claimed they were denied bathroom breaks because no one else was on the floor to cover for them. The company's obsession with speed and minimal staffing might look efficient on the surface, but it comes at a very real human cost. And here's the emotional punch. These aren't lazy workers complaining about doing their jobs. These are dedicated people who wanted to work hard but found themselves crushed by a system designed to squeeze maximum productivity from minimal bodies. Aldi's lean staffing model isn't just about saving money. It's a calculated move to boost profits by wringing every last drop of energy from its employees. It's burnout by design. So while customers are bagging their own groceries and thinking they're part of some clever, efficient system, the people running that system are silently breaking down. And if this is how Aldi treats the people who keep the lights on, what does that say about how they treat the products we buy? In the next section, we're diving into how Aldi's shockingly low prices are actually made possible and what you're really sacrificing to save a few bucks. Everyone loves a good deal, and Aldi has built its entire reputation on being the king of low prices. But if you think these savings are simply the result of smart business and bulk buying, think again. The truth is, Aldi's prices are shockingly low because they're cutting in every direction possible, not just costs, but corners. From the moment you walk in, you're entering a stripped-down, hyper-efficient environment designed to deliver rock-bottom prices by sacrificing everything that makes traditional grocery stores feel, well, human. Let's start with the stores themselves. Aldi locations are tiny compared to standard grocery chains, sometimes less than a quarter of the size. That's no accident. Smaller stores mean lower rent, fewer staff, fewer products to manage, and quicker customer turnover. But it also means less variety, tighter spaces, and a more stressful shopping experience. The store isn't built for comfort, it's built for speed and savings at any cost. Then there's the packaging. Most items aren't shelved individually. They're left in their shipping boxes, with staff cutting off the tops and stacking them in bulk. It saves time, labor, and money, but it turns your shopping trip into something closer to digging through a warehouse. Now let's talk about the food. Aldi's private label strategy means they control everything about what's on the shelves, and they can source ingredients from anywhere in the world, often opting for lower-grade suppliers that cut costs in ways customers never see. Fewer choices also mean you're more likely to buy what's there rather than compare prices. That's not convenience. That's manipulation disguised as minimalism. And if you think every penny you save is harmless, think again. Less oversight and tighter margins can sometimes lead to dangerous consequences. Because while you're celebrating your grocery bill, you might be overlooking what's inside your cart. In the next section, we'll take a closer look at one product in particular that sparked real concern among parents, and it has to do with Aldi's baby formula. For any parent, nothing matters more than their child's health, especially when it comes to baby formula, the one thing that can determine whether an infant thrives or struggles during their most vulnerable stage of life. That's why what happened with Aldi's baby formula sent ripples of concern through thousands of households. On the surface, Aldi's formula looked like a steal. At nearly half the price of big-name brands like Similac or Enfamil, many parents assumed it was just a store-brand alternative with the same quality. But behind the label, questions started to emerge. And those questions shook people's trust to the core. In 2022, numerous parenting forums and watchdog groups began raising red flags about Aldi's Little Journey baby formula line. Some concerned parents noticed unusual textures and odors. Others shared stories about their babies reacting poorly, rashes, stomach issues, even allergic responses, after switching to Aldi's cheaper formula. But the biggest issue wasn't anecdotal, it was transparency. Aldi provides minimal information about where its formula is sourced, how it's manufactured, or how it compares nutritionally to national brands. That kind of mystery might be tolerable for cereal or crackers, but not for something you feed your newborn every single day. Experts weighed in, pointing out that while Aldi's formula technically meets FDA minimum requirements, it may lack certain premium nutrients or advanced formulations found in more expensive options. And because Aldi operates with fewer brand accountability measures, it's nearly impossible for concerned customers to trace product issues back to a manufacturer or request detailed information. It leaves parents in a terrifying position. Do you risk paying more for name brand peace of mind or gamble on saving a few bucks at the expense of your baby's health? And here's the emotional gut punch. Most parents who buy Aldi formula aren't doing it out of laziness or neglect. They're doing it because they're desperate to stretch a dollar, believing the marketing that says Aldi delivers the same for less. But when it comes to babies, the price of a mistake is too high. And sadly, formula isn't the only product under fire. In the next section, we'll look at another customer favorite, Aldi's European chocolate, and the hidden danger that was discovered inside some of its sweet treats. Aldi's chocolate is one of its biggest success stories. Fans rave about the creamy texture, the affordable price, and that distinct European flavor you usually only find in specialty stores. Brands like Moser Roth and Chaussure have built a loyal following, with some customers even calling them hidden gems in the candy aisle. But what if we told you that beneath the glossy wrapping and rich flavor, something far more disturbing has been discovered? Something that could turn your sweet tooth into a serious health concern. In 2023, an independent food safety watchdog released lab results after testing dozens of chocolate bars from various retailers, including Aldi. The findings were alarming. Some Aldi-branded chocolate bars contain trace levels of heavy metals, including lead and cadmium, both of which are linked to serious health risks, especially with long-term exposure. While these levels were technically below federal safety limits, experts warn that regular consumption could still pose a cumulative risk, particularly for vulnerable groups like children and pregnant women. And here's the kicker. Aldi didn't publicly disclose any of these concerns. No label warnings, no press release, no product recall, just silence. Now think about this. You walk into Aldi looking for a budget-friendly indulgence. You pick up a bar of chocolate, maybe even give one to your child, and you have no idea that you're possibly ingesting something that could damage your nervous system or kidneys over time, all because it's sold under a happy-sounding label with European flair and a $1.49 price tag. The emotional betrayal here is real. When even your small comforts come with invisible risks, who can you trust? And the worst part, Aldi isn't alone. Many major brands also tested positive in the same study, but at least with those, there's public accountability and ongoing reform. With Aldi's private labels, you're in the dark. And if that doesn't make you question what else is hiding in those aisles, just wait. Because next we're digging into one of the most disturbing customer claims of all, about how Aldi allegedly repackaged expired meat and kept it on shelves. There's frugal, and then there's foul. And according to some former Aldi employees and customers, what happens behind the meat counter might cross a line you never knew existed. While Aldi is known for cutting costs, multiple allegations over the years have surfaced claiming that certain stores engaged in a deeply troubling practice, repackaging expired meat and placing it back on shelves with new labels. That's not just unethical, it's potentially dangerous. And if you've ever bought a fresh steak from Aldi thinking you scored a great deal, you might want to sit down. In an anonymous Reddit thread that gained traction in 2021, several self-identified former Aldi workers began sharing nearly identical stories. One wrote, "We were told to pull meat close to expiration, open the package, rewrap it, and print a new sticker with a new sell-by date. If we didn't, we'd get written up for wasting product." Another claimed that expired meat was occasionally ground up and repackaged as fresh beef to disguise discoloration. While Aldi's official policy prohibits these actions, the consistency of these accounts from multiple locations raised serious red flags and fueled growing customer suspicion. And it's not just online rumors. In some regions, Aldi has been the subject of local investigative reports after customers claimed they purchased spoiled meat that smelled rotten the moment it was opened. In one case, a woman from Georgia said she had to throw out over $80 worth of groceries after buying ground beef that turned brown overnight, despite having several days left before the listed expiration. When she contacted the store, she was offered a refund, but no explanation for how that could have happened. It leaves you wondering, how widespread is this? Emotionally, this hits where it hurts. Food is supposed to be safe. You trust a grocery store to give you something fresh, something edible, but when corners are cut in silence and expired products are given a second life under a new label, you're the one left holding the risk. And if you thought that was shocking, just wait until we break down Aldi's checkout process. Because while the meat might be recycled, the customer service model feels like it's running on fumes. In the next section, we'll reveal how Aldi turned its shoppers into unpaid employees and why you're doing more work than you realize. If you've ever been through an Aldi checkout, you already know it's fast, blazing fast. In fact, it's one of the fastest in the industry. Items are scanned at lightning speed, piled into your cart in a blink, and you're expected to move along, bag everything yourself and clear out, all in record time. But what feels like a quirky efficiency trick is actually something much deeper. Because in Aldi's world, you're not just the customer. You're the cashier, the bagger, and the cleanup crew, all rolled into one. And you're doing it all without a paycheck. Let's start with how the system works. Aldi employees scan items so quickly that most customers can't even keep up. They don't bag your groceries, that's your job, done at a separate counter after you've already paid. The speed isn't a bonus feature, it's a calculated policy. Aldi checkout lanes are designed with long, flat counters, not for your convenience, but so staff can hurl scanned items directly into your cart as fast as humanly possible. Why? Because faster checkouts mean fewer employees needed, shorter lines, and more customers cycled through per hour. It's not about your time, it's about their bottom line. Now here's the part most people miss. Aldi's entire checkout design is built to shift the workload onto you without you realizing it. You bag your own groceries, you fetch your own cart, you return it. You wait longer if the line stacks up because there might only be one person running the whole front of the store, and you leave thinking, wow, that was fast. But in reality, you did half the job. You've been turned into unpaid labor under the guise of minimalism and efficiency. And sure, maybe it feels harmless when it's just groceries. But what happens when these cost-saving tactics start affecting quality? When they start affecting health? Because if they're willing to make customers do the work to save a few bucks, what else might they be cutting corners on? In the next section, we'll hit pause on the criticism, because buried in all the chaos, there's one thing Aldi actually gets very right, and it might surprise you. By now, you've probably had your share of jaw-dropping revelations about what really goes on behind the scenes at Aldi. From repackaged meat to psychological manipulation at the checkout, it's easy to feel skeptical, even betrayed. But here's the truth. Not everything about Aldi is bad. In fact, there's one area where the company actually shines, and it's something even their harshest critics can't ignore. But before we get to that, if you've made it this far and you're finding these insights valuable, take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Every click helps us dig deeper, uncover more hidden truths, and bring you the kind of content that the big corporations would rather keep buried. Now let's talk about something Aldi actually does very well. Its specialty product lines. If you've ever explored the organic produce, gluten-free items, or seasonal Aldi finds, you might have stumbled onto something kind of amazing. Aldi's Simply Nature and Live Free brands routinely beat name brand competitors in blind taste tests. Consumer Reports has praised Aldi's organic options for their quality, freshness, and affordability. And their award-winning wines, believe it or not, have outperformed bottles that cost 4 or 5 times as much. These aren't flukes. They're calculated wins in a carefully chosen product strategy. And there's more. Aldi's Special Buys section, a rotating lineup of limited-time household goods and gourmet items, has become a cult favorite. It's one of the few areas where shopping at Aldi feels more like treasure hunting than budget shopping. Air fryers, designer dupes, even outdoor furniture, people line up for this stuff. And when you hit a good week, it feels like you discovered a secret the rest of the grocery world missed. So yes, Aldi has some serious flaws, but it also has genuine value tucked in between the chaos. And knowing the difference, what's worth your time, and what should raise red flags, is the key to shopping smarter. But before we wrap it all up, there's one more truth you need to hear. Because even with the good, the most important lesson isn't about groceries at all. It's about how you, the shopper, are being trained to trust without questioning. In our final section, we'll show you why that matters more than ever.